Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. For those of you new to the nation, please smash that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our amazing content. So anyways, today we are doing Lindis Jungle. We are reviewing a gold community members gameplay, but at the same time I'm mixing it in with a lot of this is the best way to do it type of situation. Anyways, this is the build. Credit to Yuan H8. He's one of our Squirrel Nation community members. He is a conqueror who mains Lindis. And anyways, this is the build that he kind of passed along that I think is outstanding. I love using it. It's super fun. Anyways, the reason that I made the build the way it is because a mistake a lot of junglers make is that because of the nature of auto purchasing, they end up buying items that they don't need and delaying their tier 2 jungle item. So the way that I get around that is I just use this build, and then the 6th item that you would purchase is Blade of Eternity. The other option is to, at the beginning of the game, is to go in and pre-purchase your tier 2 jungle item. This is important because if you don't do that correctly, what will happen is you'll delay the purchase of your tier 2 jungle item and you will delay getting stacks on that item. When you finish your first clear, you should have 1 stack on your jungle item if you have done everything correctly. Anyways, the arcana that he passed along are 7 Blitz, 10 Skewer, 3 Atrocity, 8 Gorilla, and 2 Reeve. For those of you like me who are poor and you don't have all these different arcana, feel free to just use 10 Blitz, 10 Skewer, and 10 Gorilla. The build still works outstandingly. And anyways, with that, let's dive into the gameplay review. Okay, so this is a clip of Lindis's first clear. I'm going to point out a few areas that are suboptimal and then show how that can affect the clear speed. So first thing on Lindis players, you want to be laying down both 2 traps by the time the buff comes up. So lay 1, then your second one, and then you actually can lay a 3rd one on top of the buff right when it comes up. Another thing with Lindis is the target selection is a little interesting on blue. So if you are going to start blue, make sure you're hitting the right thing. If you notice there, C left, he was hitting the other minion, so it aggroed onto him and he's taken more damage than he needs to. Another thing is make sure you're using Lindis's passive. C's running in and out of the bush. With Lindis, you actually don't need to exit the bush. You can just sit inside the bush and it will continue to trigger your passive when it comes off cooldown. Here on this thing, the build is not optimal. That we'll go over in a different part of the video. So same thing, good use of traps, did make use of passive, but once again with Lindis, make sure you're always using the passive. So right now the passive is up, but C isn't going into a bush, so it's not triggering. So these things make it inefficient clear. Same thing for this monster. If he would sit in a bush, he would be killing it faster. But anyways, overall point, if we notice, kills it at 143. So this initial clear speed was 143. Okay, so we saw Cielo's first wave clear. Now I'm going to go through how I do my first wave clear. Okay, as soon as the game starts, grab your S2 as quick as possible. The reason you want to do that is so that you can lay down 3 traps right away onto the buff. Choose whatever side of the map you're going to start on. Some people start Dragon, some people start Dark Slayer. In this case, I'll start just blue side because that is what Cielo started with. Anyways, lay down your 2 traps. If you notice, my 3rd trap will come online before the golem spawns, but wait for it to trigger. It triggers it. I throw that down, go into hitting the golem, right? Kind of use your punish. You can use it slightly in advance to dodge some damage if you're not having many issues with the enemy, but if you are having issues with the enemy, then obviously save it. Make sure you're using the bush, right? So you're triggering your passive. I lay it down here. I come to this bush to get the other extra damage, then I can throw another trap as I run across, right? So same thing, you can use your heal there if you want to use your heal. It's not a big deal. In this case, you want to kind of get close because if you stay in the bush, the monster will reset. But anyway, so here you go. Pull this into the bush, same thing. Notice I'm sitting in the bush. You don't have to keep leaving and exiting. This monster you can pull to this bush without it resetting, so make sure you take advantage of that, and you buy your jungle item right there before you get that kill, and you notice you will end your clear. So I ended it at about 130, I think it was, and then also notice my jungle item has 1 stack. That, to me, is the perfect clear that you want as a jungler. That means your purchase order was correct, and that means that your clear speed is about where you want it. Okay, so when you're playing Lindis, make sure you're always making use of her passive by standing in bushes. If we notice here, Cielo is going to focus on the Vision Seagull, which is great because the Spirit Sentinel, if you notice, still has 2 seconds till it spawns. He's also going to use his S1 to make sure the enemies aren't in that far bush, which is great. The only thing is, I wish he would have just come and stood in this bush to make use of his passive. Once again, as a jungler, it's those 2 or 3 seconds here or there that really actually affect how great of a jungler you are. So anyways, I love that he used his S1 to check this bush for no enemies, but then I would like him to come in position in this bush so that his passive is triggering while he's finishing off this Spirit Seagull. Or sorry, Vision Seagull. Here, Cielo's about to kill the Spirit Sentinel, so 2 notes here is positioning and passive usage again. So for Lindis, the passive, you want to stand in the bush, but actually for all junglers who are killing the Spirit Sentinel, or even not even the junglers, just anybody killing the Spirit Sentinel, note that you can stand in this bush here in the top left corner of the screen. If you stand at the very edge of the bush, you can be in the bush while killing the Spirit Sentinel, and it won't reset. So it won't turn red and then run back to position. You can actually completely kill it from standing in this bush. The reason that's important for any hero, but especially Lindis, is 1, if she's standing in the bush, she's going to be using her making use of her passive a lot more, so she's going to kill the Spirit Sentinel a lot quicker. For any hero, it's important because then the enemies can't see your health, right? Like, even if they come to steal it, they can't target you, which means you're going to get the first poke damage onto them without them being able to retaliate, right? And the other thing is, that's for auto-attack heroes. For heroes who can cast spells like Raz or the Mage or whatever, they can throw damage into the bush, but it's risky for them to challenge you in the bush when they don't know how many people are in the bush. So anyways, it's just always good to hide yourself, to not be visible on the map when you don't need to be visible on the map. So for everybody killing the Spirit Sentinel, I highly recommend that you stand in this bush here that I'm going around with my mouse cursor, top left of the screen. Okay, so in this clip, we're going to discuss taking the dragon, and everything is starting great, okay? On Lindis, if you do the dragon correctly, she can take almost no damage and easily secure a dragon by herself. So the key is that when you kill the dragon, you want to make use of her passive in the bushes. So if you want to, you can kill the dragon either towards the mid lane, in which case you're going to stand in this bush for the passive, or you can kill the dragon towards the dragon side lane, and you would stand in the bush that is next to the dragon pit. Okay? Either way, here's the key. If the dragon runs to either side bush, it will reset. But the thing is Lindis can actually kill the dragon before it resets, as long as she waits for the dragon to start its AoE. Okay? So if you don't know what I mean, go and practice a little bit killing the dragon, and you'll see. The dragon always does a predictable AoE, and when it does its AoE, it won't move from that position. So what you need to do as a Lindis player is you start the way Cielo is starting, is you poke at the dragon like this, you drop traps for extra damage, but Cielo is going to run into the pit. In the future, I would like Cielo to come and stand in this bush, and he can actually kill the dragon right after it finishes its first AoE. So if you notice right now, the dragon is about to start its AoE, bam, it starts its AoE, right? So if he would have ran into that bush, the dragon would not have reset because it would have been doing its AoE inside its green box right here, and Cielo would have actually been using his passive, so he would have killed it quicker and would have taken less damage. And if the enemies came, he wouldn't have been stuck in the pit. He would have actually been already in a bush and been ready to run away or take a good fight. So positioning on Lindis for the dragon, keep that in mind. Okay, so we discussed taking a perfect dragon kind of without taking damage and kiting it just perfectly, so I'm going to show an example of this. We discussed you can do this towards the mid lane or towards the dragon. I'm showing you towards the dragon lane right now. So if you notice, I'm kiting back while doing damage, and the dragon perfectly stops on the outer edge of its box when it does its AoE, which gives me enough time to burst it down and completely kill it. And if you notice through the whole process, I think I took 1 auto attack damage, and I did take slam damage, but that could have been avoided if I was paying a little bit more attention. Okay, in this clip, we're going to discuss Lindis's traps. One of the amazing things about Lindis is her traps. It gives you vision on the enemies, and it kind of helps you know when they are rotating, when and where they're rotating. So in this clip, I want to point out that you see the Tell, the Roz, and the Grok are here. They just killed the friendly Alice. So anyways, they're gonna come mid to clear lane with Lindis and Laurel, which is good, right? And here's where use traps, okay? So you just saw the enemies up here, and Tell is just starting to show, but you know that the enemies are in this range, right? So what they're gonna want to do if you're coming mid, and Cielo and the Laurel are about to attack the tower, right? So what I would like to see out of Lindis is throw a trap in this bush or in this routing path, right? So that way when the enemies try to come and collapse on you, you get vision on that. And this is kind of where you need to play the outsmart game, is are they likely to run through this path, or are they going to try to come behind you and push up? But anyways, see, and he comes, and notice he came over, he used his S1 to check if they're there or not. That part is great. I would just love that extra cherry on top of the sundae would be throw down a trap here, throw down a trap here, either one, so that when the enemy's path to contest you, killing their tower, you trigger that slow and give yourself time to buy. So if you notice, Grok runs in from the path we talked about, gets a hook, gets the ult, Raz comes in from the other path that we talked about, and secures a kill on our Lindis. So anyways, that's where the trap is on Lindis is extremely valuable. It gives you that warning. A trap in either place would have either showed the Grok or would have showed the Raz, and would have given Lindis enough time to run towards the Dark Slayer lane through that bush, get the speed boost, and get away easy. Okay, that does it for today's video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. Also, it really helps me if you will share this video around so that other people can join the Squirrel Nation and just join our great community we have going on. But anyways, as always, I'll see you all tomorrow, and happy ranking.